Hey, what's up guys, Crescent Story here and welcome to a new video. Now, I'm going to be reacting to to the most recent video that Zigzagzilla has made because it has to do with the ethics of veganism. That is a topic that I have been interested in for a while. I haven't exactly seen this video yet, but I really do like this man's channel. Just an all around amazing person from what I gather. I've seen all kinds of different videos that he has made as of late. I also like this man, the Awake and Brave. Those are people that I have been keeping up to date with and have followed because of they're pretty much high intelligence. They make plenty of informational videos that are guaranteed to enlighten you. So I would I highly advise to check these individuals out and to keep up to date with what they're doing on their channel with what they are talking about. He pretty much just makes generally he just makes vlog videos on his channel discussing various different topics, you know. But yeah, like I said, I'm going to start this video off with him discussing veganism and his debate. And I'm just going to tell you what I think in this video. Now, let's start off by pressing play on this debate and seeing what's going on here.
Zigzag, there's someone here waiting? Okay, let's go. Hey mate, 1 second. Let me put my headphones on.
Yeah. Now I've seen Zigzag growing his own vegetables and stuff. So
hello Zigzag. You've joined you sent an email, said you're ready for the octagon. You actually look like you're ready for the octagon. You're not octagon. Right?
Hold on a second, because I'm hearing like two echoes. I don't know if it's because I got the I don't know if it's because I got YouTube turned on, but let me turn YouTube off.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
All right, so can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Let me just take you 1 sec.
All right.
Remove, and I'll
so
add you
I have
back. How you going, mate?
Yeah, I got you. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
Yeah, I had to shut off YouTube because I was hearing two.
It says Joey Curbstrong versus Zigzag vegan debate, and I don't know why it says cat versus mouse, but we'll see why in just a second.
Two voices, like it was like an echo.
No, that's cool. That's cool. Like, nice haircut, mate. For starters, we look very similar right now.
You both look like skinheads, but I prefer his haircut over his, just because he kind of has like the smooth cut, whereas this guy still looks like he had hair there or something like. So there's something I like more about the smooth cut. Anyway, going on.
Yeah. So here's my my main question for you. First of all, I look at veganism as a beautiful practice. You know what I'm saying? If people are not eating animals, and I've heard a few of your videos, but I'm very curious to know, is this a religion to begin with?
It's sort of something you follow religiously. If you're vegan, you know, that means you do not eat any meat, and you just kind of go for the path. You pretty much follow it.
It's not
like a faith. I don't know. It's not necessarily a religion. It could be more like a lifestyle choice.
Religion.
So what is your definition of religion? Yeah,
exactly. Well, exactly that. What is yours? So anyway. my definition of religion would be something like it would be something like a doctrine whereby you follow a creator or something, and you have like these religious tenets that you adhere to. With veganism, it's more of a philosophy, whereby so you kind of with veganism. What I mean by veganism is like a philosophy that respects the rights of animals, and like it would be like being against the violation of the negative rights of non-human animals. So like you would live in a way that seeks to avoid products that violate the rights of animals, so murdering them, enslaving them, if it's unjustifiable. So yeah, there's like dietary veganism where you would just avoid animal products, but I subscribe more to like ethical veganism, where like, yeah, be like a moral sort of philosophy.
Right. So yeah, because I was on the comments, and then when I asked the question, they say it's basically on the ideas that it is morally wrong to kill animals. However, it's still coming out of the root of right and wrong. And then when I look at religion, religion is still coming out of the concept of good and evil. So it's if something is wrong to do, it may be wrong for one person to do, but not for another. For example, you know, I observe nature and how things work in nature, and I've heard many arguments you've talked about where we can do things to intervene as far as like certain animals that are, you know, infringing on the will of like other animals and whatnot. Or what is your opinion on that? Because there's a couple of things I want to cover before I move on into the religion topic. Like just animals eating each other in nature. What is your opinion on that?
Well, my opinion personally is that it's something that's bound to happen, and it's completely fine as long as it's like, as long as it's like, you know, it's happening as part of the wild. What I don't believe in is domestication in the sense of where the animal actually has to deal with constant cruelty, or like, you know, has to deal with like whatever it's going through. I don't know. I see that there's like pigs in like small stalls or whatever, like they're imprisoned for the majority of their life, and that it's like uncomfortable, and that like even the hormones of the stress hormones may taint the meat. But yeah, let's go on with this guy's response right here.
So my focus would be what humans do to non-human animals. That's where I focus most of my attention on. Do I think that we ought to intervene if an animal is attacking another animal? I think that yeah, there might be some compelling reasons that we should intervene if, say, an animal is attacking another animal. I would put it into like
I would say no, just because it's in that animal's nature to eat as a carnivore, that it has to eat the meat to survive. And you know, it wouldn't be as good for the animal, but it's just the way that things have been running. It's just the way that the course of nature has been going. So yeah, in that sense. But yeah.
Like an analogy like this, like if a dog is attacking a child, do you step in?
Like in that case, yeah, you would, because children, you know, there's something that you personally want to protect. It's something that is of our species. It's something like, you know, you normally want to do, so you'd pretty much want to intervene and stop that.
And stop the dog. If it's a wild dog, do you step in and stop the wolf? Do you stop the wolf from attacking your cat? Do you stop a dog from attacking a cat? And even if the cat is a stray cat, like
if it wasn't my cat, maybe not. Possibly. If it was my own cat, definitely.
All of these situations, I would say, yeah, I think we should intervene. Now, to what end we go to intervene, that's another question. But I do think we do have a moral obligation to stop an animal being viciously ripped to shreds by another animal. Yeah.
Are you playing God then?
No, just generally, like if you were getting ripped to shreds by a wild animal, I wouldn't say they're a wild animal. Nature, though, you know what? I'd probably shoot a bear if they tried to attack you. Yeah. And
okay, so because the only reason I ask that is, for example, like there's certain people who say if God exists,
it's like,
then why are there rapes, murders, tortures, and pedophilia and all that? Why are things not? So in other words, you getting in the way of another animal, killing another.
Well, if God exists, why does all that happen? You know, I'd say pretty much is because that there is no entity there. That reality exists just because it is the way it is. I mean, I've had states of like synchronicity. I've had certain things that were meant to be. I've had like something that felt like it was special. It felt like it was divine. But it's just because that things are the way that they are, whether they're fair or not. We're here just in a state of luck, because countless individuals are born with horrendous disabilities to their health, to their body. You know, it's just, we're just here by luck. You know what I mean? And that is the reason why all those things happen, is because in the state of balance that the world is, things tend to happen at random, and there's no real controller of everything, at least from what I see, that prevents it, that has a mind to prevent it. It's pretty much just based off of fate, as far as I've experienced and as far as I know, is truly there. And that's not really coming from a space of an opinionated view. That's just really how things are, really what things is. It just means, it's just that life isn't always fair. That's why.
Animal is like a divine intervention. So I'll give you an example for like, I have a garden. I grow food. I love to eat fruits. Yeah. And I basically can observe an apple tree and it's getting attacked by aphids. Now I can go one of two ways. I can get chemicals and destroy these aphids, or I can leave the aphids there and wait for the carnivorous predatory insects to come and get rid of these aphids, which is what happened based on my observation. I could have been doing divine intervention, but then again, that would mean being a slave to the land rather than the land working for me. It's no different if I have a business.
See, that's what I like about Zigzag. You know, one of my favorite things about him is that he goes the other route. That he lets nature take its course than to put pesticides on his crops and poisoning potentially himself with his own food. So a lot of the food that he grows in his garden, like the fruits, are pretty much all organic, and they have like other alternatives than to just use the pesticides, you know? Like, as opposed of using pesticides, he just lets nature run its course. That, I think, is an honorable trait in a person, to actually think that way. Because it's more holistic.
I'd rather have a business work for me than me be a slave to the business. So I have workers. I'm the CEO. I'm the observer.
See, that's like a red-pilled kind of way of thinking. Like, you know, you could see through the matrix.
As far as this reality, because there's things that people say when I ask them about the veganism topic, they say that it's not a religion because it doesn't have anything to do with like anything divine or anything like that. But in my opinion, if I decide to stop eating animals, it's because I realize that these animals are my brothers and sisters, and not because I fell in love with a doctrine.
It's kind of like that in a sense, you know. But the main reason I would try to stop eating these animals is because of the way that it's raised in captivity. And a lot of it has to do with the sort of domestication of it. You know, you're fed all these different, the cows are fed, they're bred with antibiotics and different types of things. The milk is extracted, like they're hooked up to some like kind of like machine. A lot of it is just like them leading the animals, like, you know, it's just like, in general, the way it has to be mass produced, they're not really treated that well. They're not really treated that humanely at all, as far as I've seen. Meat does taste good, but
or fell in love with the idea, because you know how many religious people I meet, and at the end of the day I dissect a conversation with them, and they're basically just rooted out of the fact that their parents were religion, and that's the reason why they believe in God, and they're religious, and they cut their veins for this Jesus. So if you realize God, then you are basically into all religions. So this is the reason why somebody say I'm religious is not to say that you're into one religion, but then this doctrine, for example, of like veganism, which I respect. I'm not against veganism. I'm just trying to question where it comes from, because I'm noticing a lot of people I speak to that are vegans are coming from ego, or they're just coming from a space where no different than a religious person just being religious because they want to be part of a community or just part of something else. So I have cats in my garden, and my cats will rip a mouse to shreds. And then I'm gonna let you get in there because I want to just get your points on all this. And then the cat is not aware that it did anything that we would categorize as like torture and slaughtering and anything like that. They actually play around with the mouse before they actually like kill it. And they're so proud of what they do that they will actually bring you the mouse to show the master, hey, look what I got for you. But we look at that and say, okay, this is a human idea that I have toward what that cat did, but that cat is just doing cat things. Humans, for example, as far as what we're doing, because I also see that there's been times where you've gone into businesses and have gone with your TVs, and it's kind of like it's kind of like invading those businesses. No different than if I got pests in my garden, I'm going like Japanese beetles or something I have to deal with, and they actually overpopulate so much in numbers that I have to go outside physically and sometimes throw them in a little cup of water with soap, because if not, they'll decimate the plant that I'm trying to grow to eat my fruits. If I
I've seen those things. They're pretty dumb. But yeah,
I wanted to be like, let's say 100% vegan. So like you invading the business would look. Yeah. Go ahead. I just want to make sure.
I think you should just take the Japanese beetles, put them on little toothpicks, and just like put them all in front of your plants just to scare them off. No, I'm just kidding. That probably wouldn't work, but imagine if it did, right?
You've got a lot of things on the table here, and you're giving some. There's a lot for me to unpack here. So can we do one at a time?
One at a time.
Because I feel like you're mixing a lot in here. You're mixing cat versus mouse, animals doing something in nature. You're mixing me invading businesses. You're talking about crop protection, and you're kind of. I feel like there's a bit of a meshing going on here. So you're saying you're not against veganism. You're saying you don't like to follow doctrines, or you're against kind of religious views and just blindly following dogma. You also said if you were going to stop eating animals, it would be for some reason that you. Where you viewed these animals as your brothers and sisters. It's more like they're sentient.
It's a realization.
It's a realization. Exactly. That's why I'm vegan, bro. That's why I'm vegan. Straight up. I'm not vegan because I listened to someone's religious view and said don't eat animals because I said and because it's right and wrong. I actually analyzed why it's wrong, and because this is why I'm vegan. Just so you know, I value the experience of the sentient being. Okay, you're a sentient being. I'm a sentient being. We experience the world around us. I'm not against all killing. I will kill a person if I have to defend my family. If they're going to kill me, like what's this non-aggression principle, something like this. If I have to inflict some type of violence on someone to stop something horrible happening, I will do that. I'm not a complete pacifist. But animals are innocent. They're sentient like us. They have an experience, maybe not exactly the same, but what happens to them matters to them. So I believe that we should extend rights and protections to them because they can experience pleasure, pain, sentience, and they don't want bad things to happen to them. So that's why I'm vegan. I'm trying to mitigate my unjustifiable.
And I agree with this person right here. Yeah, Joey's completely correct about that. Extending your self-importance to animals and to whatever you eat. I've been vegan before. I kind of left it or went out, kind of drifted away from it. But I think after this video, what I'm going to do for sure, I don't think so, but I know so for sure. I'm gonna go back completely into veganism and maintain that lifestyle because, yeah, I think it's going to be a better experience for me overall. Yeah, so
harm onto these animals. So yeah, I don't know if that helps you with your questions here about these cats eating mouses and stuff like that. That's a different topic, what animals do in nature. I don't believe that gives us justification to act like animals act, by the way, if cats eat mice and things. Yeah.
See, the whole thing is like look, for example, you see Tristan Tate and Andrew Tate. One is Muslim and the other one's Christian. But they're brothers, and they don't ever question each other's religion. They got their own followings, their own beliefs and whatnot. Like I'm not religious at all. You know what I'm saying? I've got my own way of religion to me is my own organization and my own structure as far as to how I get up in the morning and do things. Which is why I say you could do things religiously. Like you may get up in the morning and just drink a cup of coffee at first thing in the morning. That's something you do religiously. Your body does things religiously. Otherwise, you'd cease to exist. Like breathing, excretion, digestion,
like a discipline kind of thing, like habitual discipline where you go through like religious practices, but not to do with God. I get what you're saying with your definition of religion.
So now when it comes to these two, they don't do it. But let's say, for example, I meet a lot of people who are like diehard religious people. And they'll always, and I'm from New York, you know what I'm saying? And I moved down to the South, but I'm noticing here, they come to your door, they try to convert you. They it's a lot of they're asking like empty questions. And it's like, it gets me because I'm like, where are these things coming from? And then upon dissecting, I'm just even asking them, I don't know how into metaphysics you are, because I know most vegans are not. But I'll ask them, like, what they say, do you know where you go when you die? Then I ask them, well, what is the difference between the soul and the spirit? And they can't even answer that simple question, you know? Now, when it comes down to these...
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, that's kind of interesting because I thought the soul was the same thing as the spirit. But now that I'm actually starting to think about it, he's putting a distinction between the soul and the spirit, like they're two different things. So, yeah, I'm gonna have to look into that later, unless he explains in the rest of this video. But
little simple things where things can actually get a little bit more clear, you know, and just kind of not just go skip the line and say, oh, I want you to follow this, but you don't really know the root cause of why you're even there. You know what I'm saying? And then that's the reason why I asked that.
I do, but my friend, we don't have to get into metaphysics to analyze whether or not it's wrong to stab a pig in the throat for a sandwich. We don't have to do that. Like, basically, we
ain't gonna lie, eating something like ham tastes freaking good. Unfortunately, to get to that point, you'd have to fucking stab a pig in the throat, which, yeah, it would be horrible. That if you yourself were to be stabbed in the throat, obviously it would be a lot of pain and suffering involved. So yeah, it kind of sucks realizing that eating meat, everything that you eat that was meat, something had to be killed. Dying in of itself, knowing that we'll die someday, is like a horror that I experience in my daily life. Like, I'm going to die. It makes me sick to my stomach that we grow old and die. But yeah, moving forward.
We're talking something a little more grounded here, a little more simple. Like, we're talking something like a normative ethical theory, not what you believe happens to us when we die, or is there a God, or is there some underlying energy in the universe? We're talking about, do animals have their own subjective experience? Do they have a brain? Do they have a functioning nervous system, eyes? Do they feel afraid? Do they feel pain? Do they not want to die? Things like this, right? Is it wrong in your worldview to shoot a cow in the skull, cut them up into pieces so we can have a fleeting burger? Do you think it's wrong in the case where we have other things to eat and we're not in some survival situation?
If you're looking at it, yeah, from a moral standpoint, let's say what's moral to me may not be moral to you. I personally wouldn't do it because it's not programmed in me to do that. But if I was raised as a child to do that, it would seem normal to me. You get what I'm saying? But the whole thing is that all right. So let's talk about slavery for a second. You don't think?
And the reason why I like this debate, sorry to pause the video right there, but the reason why I like this debate more than other kind of vegan debates is because two highly intellectual people that I see are debating the ethics of veganism. I like to see his view of veganism personally because I've been a big advocate for veganism for a while. Me personally, I've been vegan. I was a vegan for like 7 years, and now I think I'm going to, or no, I don't think I know. So I'm just going to go fully into veganism once again to reintegrate myself into that kind of world for a while. Yeah.
That you have to be mentally enslaved before you can become a slave?
No, not at all. I'll just.
What is mental slavery?
And I'll just put a gun to your head and chain you up. But you don't have to be mentally enslaved in order to become a slave.
Right. Okay. Then vice versa. Let's say we're not looking at it linear. For example, like what is mental slavery to you? For example.
To me, I haven't really thought about this too much, but it would be something like slavery to me seems forced. So it would be like something that my mind has been forced to endure without my consent, in a way. So that would be slavery, or feeling entrapped by some type of fear. So if someone were to control me through coercion or fear, and then I'd feel enslaved in my mind that I could, so like propaganda might do that, or some fear-based thing might make me feel mentally enslaved or something like this, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Now, when it comes to the metaphysical part, for example, let's say, do you believe that somebody who does wrong deserves that wrong in return?
It depends. If someone does wrong, they definitely deserve to be stopped immediately. Do they deserve karma? it depends on what you mean.
Karma, let's say.
But,
karma.
I think that would be a good way of stopping bad things from happening. If there was some metaphysical force that delivered karma, I think it would have stopped me from doing bad things. If there was some instant like feedback loop, it just depends what you mean by what that feedback loop is. Like, is it by me delivering the karma, or is it by some metaphysical force?
Okay, I don't want to get woo-woo over here or pseudo, because I know it's like we have to try to stay grounded, like you said. But
yeah, because just before you go ahead, I'm going to let you go ahead, but I do want to say that this topic does not need to get out here. I just want to know, like, do you pay for this to happen to animals, and do you think it's justified? So I'll let you talk about this metaphysical point, because I know this is something that you're really
and then we can get on.
Yeah, because I've got a big audience here who are interested in us getting down to the nitty gritty of the topic here. But go ahead, and then we'll see where it goes.
Okay, so let's say if we get into a what if, right? Let's say if you're here, right? You're here. Let's say we got into the topic of reincarnation and whatnot, and then we ask about what we did in our past lives. There's many questions that you can't answer, right? Because you just really don't know. You don't even know what happens after you die. But suppose it that these animals that are in these slaughterhouses and going through this pain and torture, what if they somehow in a past life did this, and this is what they are basically now having to experience based on what they did at one point? Would you still stand up for these animals? If that was the case, and that was like it was proven that that's exactly how it works.
Yeah, that's a really fucked up question. You know that, right? Because I could.
I mean, it is.
The reason it's a fucked up question.
But you guys ask fucked up questions too, though. Huh?
Yeah. Of course, yeah, we do, and I should take taste of my own medicine, really. But I could say, I could just the reason the question is really messed up is because that's like hypothetically. Like, yeah, you could be upset about this horrible mass shooting that happened to all these like preschool kids the other day. But what if?
Are you kidding? Mass shooting to preschool kids? Wow. No, that's morally bankrupt.
Those preschool kids actually did something wrong in a past life, and they actually deserved it. Would you stand by that mass shooting then? The reason that's why it's such a fucked up question. Because if I asked you that question in the wake of a school shooting, you're not gonna go, well, it's a fucked up question, because it's kind of like, what if that were the case, would you be in support of that? And basically that's like saying they did something wrong in a past life. Do I think that something bad should happen to them in this life? Well, no, because they're a different being in this life. It's a clean slate.
Right. Like I said earlier, life is just a mesh of happenings. Things that are just fated to be, whether they're good or bad, whether they're positive or negative. People may have fortunate lives and people may have negative lives. Anyone who is here to see this video, or to be alive, or to be happy, or to be fortunate in their life, are just lucky to have that experience, So be grateful for what you have, people. Be grateful for the experience that you have, and just keep moving forward with your life. You know what I mean? From what I know, I don't have any at all. I don't have any knowledge of past lives or anything like that. I do have like instincts, I do have feelings, and I do have a personality, which is probably based off of all the other previous versions of myself. And the reason why I say previous versions for myself, and why I say I do believe in it, is just because I'm an echo of my history. I was meshed from the nature of two different beings that joined together through sex or something like that. And I was born like that, but I came from something, something that was before me, which was my father and my mother. So those are pretty much my past lives. So I think it's just in your DNA. It's just your past life, It's not something like otherworldly, I don't think, or I don't know for sure. Like, you never know what's happened before, like the darkness that you experienced before life or after death, whatever. I'll get into that in this future video.
And that's if you believe in reincarnation. You have to presuppose so many different things before we got to that point that I wouldn't even be comfortable in I don't even see the utility in answering a question like that, because who cares is the answer. Who gives a fuck? Because we can never prove that. There's no way.
Well, we talk about sentience. Yeah, we talk about sentience, right? Your body is literally made up of trillions of cells, and these cells are sentient. They even have something called organ-like organelles. Okay, and when you observe these cells, for example, like you look, this is the reason why I'm getting to this, because the reason, look, we used to once fight. It was physical fighting. You called this an octagon. Like if we were gonna go head to head, we're battling words. Let's say if I smashed you in a debate. I know we're just talking shit. But let's say if I smashed you in a debate, somebody could be like, "Yo, Zigzag, good job, yo, you killed it. You killed him there." You know what I'm saying? Why do we use those words? Because it's like I'm going head to head with you. We're two opposing sides going head to head with each other with words, a war of words. And I can hurt you with these words, and some people may even attack your character aside from what you stand for. So if you say I am vegan, I'm literally attacking what your idea of you is. You know what I'm saying? So like, let's say somebody was born into a fucked up like lifestyle. They're here and they're like, what did I do to deserve this life? Right? These animals, do you ever ask like, okay, if they're in that existence, what was the lottery ticket that they were bred into existence to do that? Yeah, we have divine intervention to stop those animals into breeding. That's the reason why I get into the metaphysical part. Because either way, we're kind of debating here in a way where we're going against each other, right? But we're more or less sparring. It's not an aggressive fight. But you've seen people go at it where I've seen you on certain shows like, you know, Piers Morgan's show, and he was attacking your character because he started to talk about your past being like a criminal and whatnot. But then he goes after the idea of what makes you. If he breaks you in that debate, then he literally killed you because your reputation will be tarnished. You're not credible anymore. And here we measure everything by credit scores, even how we pay our bills and whatnot on a lower class. But on a higher class, let's say we want to do this.
I get what you're saying.
Go ahead. All right. I don't want to ramble on.
Like this, no, you're not rambling. You're saying some. You feel like you're saying veganism is part of my identity. I'm defending my identity when I defend the veganism. And
right.
I'm not defending. Yeah, it's an assumption. It's an assumption. I might actually, there might be aspects of this that are my identity. I'm an animal rights activist. Maybe my ego has taken a battering over the years, and actually I just truly found out that I just actually do care about this topic. And I can find out easily whether you're someone who cares about this topic too, with simple questions. Because I feel like we're getting a little bit lost into the woods with identity and with metaphysics and with maybe animals did something bad in their past. You could say that about literally any atrocity that has ever happened to human beings, by the way. And I would not accept that without some very, very good evidence, and we don't have any. So we just basically saying what if. But like, when I asked you, is it wrong to stab a cow in the neck for a burger or something like that, shoot them in the skull so we can eat them? Is that morally wrong? You said, yeah, it is. So
it is morally wrong. Yeah, but I'm not because I'm not programmed that way.
But wait a second. I'm not asking for your program. I'm just asking you, why do you pay for that to happen when you can easily not?
Well, you see, here's the thing. The same way that you kind of played God and did divine intervention, I live my own religion and structure where before I eat my food, right? Like they teach you this in school. You can't kill or destroy energy. You can only transfer or transmute it. It's like if you're giving me a big spill of negativity, I can transmute it by showing you the bright side of things, right? So this goes into the concept again of metaphysics of you are what you eat and what you eat becomes you. A lot of the times these animals going through that extreme conditions in those slaughterhouses, you're not just processing that complex chemistry in your body, you're processing the emotions of that animal as well. And then people start to ask themselves, why am I depressed? Why am I this? Again, there's no science to back that up. But then again, everything is to me in the mind. I've had experiences where I've had out-of-body experiences. And then if I ask you...
Personally, I never had out-of-body experiences, and yeah, I don't know what that's like. But yeah, what this guy's saying is just pretty much what I was talking about earlier. The sort of like... the way that the stress hormones of the animal kind of taint the meat, and the way that the animal is going through like some kind of like harsh experience. Yeah.
Hey, Joey, have you ever had out-of-body experiences? And you say no, you're going to just say what my claims are anecdotal claims, right? But why would you discredit my anecdotal claims if I experienced?
I have had out-of-body experiences, but I don't...
Well, that's a metaphysical experience.
And those guys are pretty lucky to have out-of-body experiences, because I've tried again, time and time again, and I've had no experiences my whole life. So, shout out to these people for actually having the ability to do so.
I don't see what we're disagreeing with here about animals going through suffering in slaughterhouses and ingesting that energy or whatever. I just asked you why you support it, like why you buy it and why you eat the animals, and you said it was because
I'm not necessarily supporting it. I mean, we're in a realm where creation is created. If I empower my reality with all the negativity, I'm going to experience more of that negativity. Like if I'm into conspiracy theories and I go and start becoming a doomsday prepper, I'm more than likely to experience a doomsday apocalypse than somebody who's not really paying attention to that reality. Somebody may experience that in the comfort of their own home, just looking at it on the news, where I may be forefront because I've like lived that reality. You get what I'm saying? Like you basically, you're making choices and decisions to position yourself in what you're doing. But if you don't see it, in my opinion, you don't want to see it. You get what I'm saying? Because you're just pretty much looking at it from one side and not really looking at it from the big scope of things.
Yeah, I get you, man. Like, you're probably a little bit disconnected from the slaughterhouse to the burger. Like, obviously, I ate meat. How old are you, bro? If you don't mind me asking.
I'm 43.
43. You look young. You look very, very youthful. But yeah, I ate meat for 26 years, right? So I used to get big steaks cut off the side of it. I go into the butcher and get them to cut my T-bones for me, actually. And I know exactly what disconnect is. And I was big into karma and big into this, big into that. I was also a gang member and also a bit violent too. Like I was a violent gang member, went to prison, got sober, started to see that maybe there's other parts of my life where I'm being violent as well. And then I started to think to myself, how do I justify chopping an animal up into pieces so I can eat their body? That's their body. And, I wouldn't accept it if it were dogs. I wouldn't accept it if it were humans. I see myself as a protector, someone who protects the innocent. And even as a gang member, I saw myself like that. So what am I doing? That's how it's simple.
So you're taking, that's my definition of God. You're taking authority over something. So you're basically being a protector. You're doing something where you're defending, let's say, your ideas or your moral systems, which is just basically all systems. You know what I'm saying? And
personally, I don't think that's the definition of God. That's the definition of enacting will, of having authority over something. It's just like God is just will, the incarnate of will itself. Authority is just another subject. Yeah. I don't know though.
At the end of the day, like I said, it's all coming down to what you're doing and empowering in your reality. If you're empowering that, then you want to bring that and share it with everybody else. But let's say getting into a business to force other people to believe in that is kind of like being a pest in a garden. Like it's there, but you're always going to have some type of carnivore. Go ahead.
Let's talk about it then. You had a problem with me taking some TV screens. Do you have a problem? Like, say, is there a problem with me going into, say, a supermarket where there's a meat aisle and showing people that walk up what happens to the animals before they go to the meat aisle? Okay.
No.
So
I'm just observing.
It is being a little bit of a pest.
Yeah.
But do you think it's justified behavior or unjustified behavior?
If you're standing by your doctrine, yes, it's justified behavior. It's just that I'm not attached to the idea of carnivorism or veganism. I'm looking at it from the observer of both sides. That's the reason why I have a YouTube channel. I grow fruits. I have a garden. I got a nice garden. I grow nothing but fruits, watermelons, grapes, all kind of berries. I love fruits, right? I'd rather eat fruits than eat meat. However, if I go to my mom's house and she prepares a dish for me that she prepared with love, that meal may be the healthiest meal I've ever had because of the energy signature it was prepared with. But if I go to somebody's house and they're preparing, with hatred and like jealousy toward me and whatnot, that food may be unhealthy, no matter if it was the healthiest vegan diet on the planet. So if I'm growing out of my garden, I'm growing it with a passion of love because I love doing what I'm doing. But if these animals...
I don't necessarily believe what he's saying, as long as the food is prepared well, no matter how it is. Yeah, but the person's emotions may go into how they give the food to the other person. They might make it nasty, so he is right in a sense. But however the person feels, if he is tasked with preparing the food, if it's like really healthy, I wouldn't necessarily see that there's anything wrong with it, unless that, unless the person were to intentionally make the food foul or make the food gross. I don't know if the actual feelings and emotions has a solid connect or an effect with the food, unless the person that is working with the food has like actual power or knowledge of witchcraft or and energies and transferring your emotional energy into the food. blessing it with your hatred or your energy to like it's like, unless it's like a planned spiritual kind of attack through the food, or that the food is poisoned. I don't think that would have anything to do with the food personally. But I like, this just like maybe he is right to a certain extent, but yeah, moving forward.
For example, are being killed and whatnot, and then my mom goes to the supermarket, she transmuted that energy for me already, and I may even go and pray over my meal, and I'm not doing it from a religious concept. I'm doing it just from a higher faculty consciousness that I have over other animals. You know what I'm saying? This is why I try to separate the way certain religious people look at religion, which is inverted evil. If you look at it, it's just backwards, or the righteous way, if we want to call it a righteous way, because I don't believe in bad or good. It's just is. Everything is just happening.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? This is why it's hard to debate on things when we look at it like this.
No, brother, there's plenty to debate there. Like I'd like to argue everything you just said there. So like, let me just throw a few analogies your way, and I'll see if you're actually consistent with this view that if a family member goes to the butcher, pays the butcher to take this flesh from an animal, let's just say they were tortured beforehand, and then they transmute that energy by praying over or delivering some type of love-based energy towards this corpse here before they cook it for you.
My bad. I was just thinking about something. Like, I've been trying to get stronger, going to the gym. This is on like a side note, and yeah, I was thinking about it. I kind of spoke my thoughts out loud. But yeah, that's my cue to go to sleep, because I'm kind of tired at this point. But either way, I'm gonna push through this video to the end, and yeah, I'm gonna talk about my exercising journey or my bodybuilding journey in a future video. And I'll make it like a before and after kind of picture. Yeah, so stay tuned to that if you want to see like a before and after picture of me just like completely transforming my physique. That's another plan for a future video I'm gonna have. Anyway, that was just a little side note real quick. But anyway, back to the commentary.
And that kind of exonerates you from any wrongdoing, okay? Because that's what I'm asking. Does that exonerate you from wrongdoing if you transmute this negative energy before you eat it? Now, here's an example. Let's just say let's change the universe here, so we don't have to think about, it's illegal, this and that. Let's just change the universe a bit here. I just want to see if you're consistent. That's why I'm just delivering a bit of a hypothetical here. There's a bunch of, let's just say there's a bunch of, I don't know, like human beings there that just chilling. I walk up with a chainsaw, just chainsaw massacre the hell out of them in a real evil way. Chainsaw them up fully conscious into little chunks, pieces, and then I come back to your house with a basket full of chainsawed up human beings who'd suffered to death in the most horrific, vile way you could possibly think of, full of adrenaline and fear. Their body parts are, you couldn't get any worse, really. It was a horrible thing. I can't even describe it. That's how bad it was.
You want to hear something crazy? I think that the meat may, in fact, be healthier because of the energy and the alertness that is running through the body. Like the adrenaline running through the body. I don't know. Just like, that may sound contradictory to what this guy might believe, but probably true. I don't know if like how they're killed determines how healthy the meat actually is for the body. In terms of morality, I think it would just kind of suck eating that meat, and the way that things have to die and you have to eat them. Anything just like
was. And I take it back, and then we had a bunch of monks there that were like the most pristine monks, and we had them back at your house, and we took all the body parts in, and this wouldn't have happened without you, by the way. You paid me 10 grand to bring you back some meat, and that's what I did. All right, so we have to bring in the element of supply and demand, because this is what's happening to the animals. I bring it back. There's some monks there. They do a chant over the meat, all the bad energies out, and you've given me my 10 grand. I've done the massacre for you, and we put that on the barbecue. Would you say, okay, even though I had some vegan food available,
that's just like an unhinged That's like a crazy hypothetical. But he's pretty smart though. I go like these two men are pretty intelligent people, so that's pretty much why I wanted to start this video.
Well, I see that as morally neutral, or as you said, not good or bad, just kind of just morally neutral.
Okay, I get your idea. So let's start with this. When we talked about my mom cooking the animal for me, right? She's not doing it thinking about transmuting it, or it's just she's doing it out of a love frequency to begin with, only because she's in some form of harmony, but she's not thinking. That's when you know it's not coming from ego.
Like maybe she does care, but she's naive about the effects of the meat.
See, there's the whole.
Or naive about where it came from, or just like, you know, it's just like whatever. But if you wanted to change that, you could inform her that you don't eat meat or something like that. If ideally, you know, zigzag. If ideally, you know, you wanted to eat just fruit or whatever, you know, you prefer it over meat, then yeah. But I could see why you still would eat meat anyway if it was prepared by your mother. But yeah.
Thing when people are in religion, it's egotistical. It's not really spiritual. And if you're into religion, that's a metaphysical experience.
I totally 100% agree that if it's like religion, it's egotistical. It's not really spiritual. Because depending on who the person is, that's what reality is. What reality is dependent on the person's beliefs. So reality is pretty much egotistical, you know, when it comes to religion. Religion, from what I know, or from what I have observed, the truth being, the subjective truth actually being, not just on like it's pretty much the verifiable truth, is that most religions just aren't really in line with pretty much what reality is. It's pretty much just a belief system. You know, it's like a belief system that is meant to indoctrinate people into a kind of group. For Christians, I think it's just for money, because they get this tithing thing you donate to a church or whatever. I think they just do it for money and control and power. But that is just my take on things. And also, it's what I've observed to be like this sort of like a subjective truth. Because me, I'm like in an in-between kind of state. But the way I discern things is that there really is no heaven. There really is no hell. All of it just kind of exists here. And whatever happens after life is pretty much unknown. It's an unknown variable. And many of us would like to believe that there is an afterlife, but as far as there is anything, there is a life and there is death, and then after death, there is nothing but the unknown. And people are afraid of the unknown, so they like to fill it in with a substance, with something, because they're in fear of nothing. They're in fear of eternal nothing. What I know for sure is that your individual experience, as far as reality goes, is completely gone. Like, I wouldn't believe in any ghosts or anything like that would exist. You know, I don't think so. I don't think ghosts exist or anything like that. Moving forward.
But let's talk about now the body parts and whatnot. These humans are direct brothers and sisters to me. The animals would be more or less the way I would consider it, people outside of me. You are, let's say if you see in the news, oh, there was a mass shooting in the schools. Are you going to go home and sob and cry the same way if it happened to your mom? No, because it's not something that's immediate to you. You're not attached to it. But the whole thing is now, when we talk about is it morally wrong or right, I am programmed not to eat humans. If I was programmed from a child to eat humans, I wouldn't see the let's say, the abnormality in it. You get what I'm saying? That's what I'm trying to say. It's not like to say that it's right, we should go kill and eat humans. But the whole thing is, everything is neutral. Everything that we're saying is bad or good is from what we're programmed from the moment we came into existence to say is right or wrong. They tell you this in religion when we start reading the Bible, don't treat your neighbor as you would yourself. But why? Because those are immediate. But if you do unto others, you're doing it unto yourself.
Sorry, zigzag. It shouldn't matter. I've exonerated you from the negativity with our chanting monks. So those corpses are now actually harmonied. They're vibrating.
But why the monks?
Love energy.
Why the monks?
Because the monks? They generated the love vibration to this.
No, but not monks.
I don't think anybody can change the fact that you, Mr. Joey, would have chainsaw massacred those people. I mean, come on. If you're doing it in the most horrific kind of way, that wouldn't be an acceptable thing in under any set of circumstances. So I don't know what that point was all about, but he was completely wrong in that regard. It's just like nothing can change that. No monks can change like anything. So like, why the monks? Why not the monks? Zigzag is like, that question is irrelevant because like it doesn't even matter whether or not the monks are involved with the chanting of the meat. It wouldn't change the morality of what Joey would have hypothetically done to those people. So yeah.
I don't see monks bigger than me though. That's somebody putting their power above somebody else. I don't care. I can see monks. I can see gurus. Those gurus are not bigger than me.
See, what I like about Mr. Zigzag though is because like what I like about him, why I think he's a good man, is because he doesn't see anything else like higher than himself. He sees himself as kind of like a red pill kind of alpha kind of person, which I aspire to be myself. And that's why I like this person. Why I watch his channels, because he's a very smart, intellectual kind of person.
The only reason they even exist is because I'm collapsing them into existence with my attention. So the only person that really matters is me and what I do.
You get what I'm saying? So is it morally justifiable to murder a bunch of sentient beings, call them humans, they're humans, and let's say they're human beings. Is it morally justifiable to murder them so you can eat them? You pay me to do that if the meal was prepared with love. Right.
Well, this is the whole thing, though. There's a loving building frequency, right? Which, in my opinion, is the real you. Like, let's call it source. I'm not trying to get metaphysical or woo-woo. You have to. See, that's what I'm saying. If we're going too much into left brain intellectual stuff, it's hard to kind of mesh things in. And it's like you can't even be here unless we go into metaphysics to some extent. We go into the quantum field, even to basically as potential for what's happening in your reality right now. So let's say, for example, if I'm looking at these, let's say these humans are direct aspects and mirror of myself through realization, right? Not because of just programming. Like I said, I've had certain spiritual experiences, which I'm not going to share over here because it's going to sound stupid, but but some people might say there's no science to back that up. They're anecdotal claims. Like you said you had out-of-body experiences or no? How could you prove that? You can't prove that. You can only talk about it. And somebody who never had it can't even fathom that, because it's like, how the hell can you come out of body? You know what I'm saying? Like look, for you to come out of body and have had these experiences, you're going to go through a sleep paralysis. You actually have to put your body to sleep first. When people have a sleep paralysis, the first thing they try to do is physically move. When in actuality, they get scared and they get programmed.
You don't need to get into this, man. We really
Let me just finish that one last point. Just one last point.
Okay.
I'm going to explain why. And I'm not trying to cut you off. I think there's a little delay. So if like you see that I'm talking, I'm not trying to talk above you. So I'm not trying to like disrespect you.
Okay, I'm just trying to keep it on
but
track.
Let me just,
I got you. Keep it on track. Okay, yeah.
Just one small thing I want to cover here, because it's going to be to the point. If I have a sleep paralysis, you're programmed to think that that's a bad thing. Oh, demons are on top of you and whatnot. When in actuality, if you are aware that you're in a sleep paralysis, you feel yourself moving and you'll come right out. You get what I'm saying? So that's the reason why. It's just a certain way of doing things. If you're trying to do it from a physical standpoint, you're not going to get the outcomes that, I can basically back this up and claim it here in this physical realm. You have to have it in a way where you're doing it, where you're either mentally doing it, where you're feeling yourself doing it, or, like thinking about yourself moving,
I want love,
But that's the reason why I wanted to cover that. Only to kind of separate the right and the brain part of things.
Yeah, but my friend, we don't need to.
Not of your.
I want to love with myself. And that's the reason why I'm going vegan. I just want to be healthier, and that's like the main reason why I want to go for that diet. I noticed that meat turns rancid. It's just like it turns into crap. It's like completely unedible, whereas fruits ferment in a way. There's dry aging of meat too. I don't know. It's like, I don't know. I noticed that you do smell better if you're on a vegan diet. It actually makes your sweat smell better, something like that. I know it from my own subjective experiences, as well as people who have claimed the same thing on YouTube before I first came into veganism, when I was researching it, is that it changes your health and it's more healthy.
Sleep paralysis. I am interested in the topic. I researched it a lot, actually, sleep paralysis and all those different things. It's just not what I'm talking about right here. I asked you a question. Is it okay to slaughter a bunch of sentient beings in a horrific way if
I told you no?
Is prepared
I said no.
No, you didn't.
I'm not programmed to that.
Okay, so
I'm not programmed like that.
Okay, that's cool.
I'm not programmed.
I mean, of course not. What do you think his answer was going to be? Pretty much just what anybody would say if you were to ask them that question.
Like that.
So it's not. It's
but
not
based on programming, though.
One sec, because I just want to get this little. So it's not okay to slaughter the human beings if the meal is prepared with love. But when your mother brings you some meat back from the supermarket that is prepared with love, that's morally fine.
So is my mom an evil person?
No, I'm asking
she cooks
you,
a meal
because,
with
because this question is about you, because you said when she...
No, probably not. But if you're speaking from the standpoint of this guy's ethic morality, you would say that she is naive to the context that people are just killing the cow, and that killing the cow is like just a bad thing because killing any sentient being is a bad, negative thing. I mean, personally, I don't fully care about anybody that dies or anything like that. It's just kind of like a thing about me. I do care about life, and I do want my friends to live or anything like that, but like, I don't know. I don't have much feeling toward like anything that lives. And that's not to say where I want to, that's not to say that I don't care about life. It's just that I'm kind of numb to it, in a sense where I'm eating an animal and I know it's chicken, or I know it's a cow, and I know it's fish, but the taste of it is naturally inviting, and so it must be good for you if that is the case. But there is the argument that Oreos taste good, they make you feel good, but they're unhealthy, or that alcohol feels good but it's unhealthy, but that doesn't mean you should do it, which is another argument that that Vegan Gains actually says in his debates. But yeah, I wonder if that rings true for the animals the animal meat I've actually ingested. But I'm all for veganism, and after this video, I'm going to go full vegan, and I'm gonna see how that goes again, as I was vegan for like 7 years. So,
been cleansed of energy.
Right. It's basically like if she's cooking it in like the most loving frequency, that's why we call it soul food. Soul food is not what you eat in the South, as far as like like the whatever.
So what is the difference between the soul and the spirit? Because isn't your soul the same thing as your spirit? Because they sound like the exact same thing. But yeah, I'm gonna look into that. Actually, yeah. Let me just get up real quick. Yeah, so the question that Zigzag asked earlier, I'm just gonna type in. I'm just gonna ask Google that. What is the difference between the soul and the spirit?
While the spirit is eternal and incorruptible, the soul is not. The soul acts as a link between the material body and the spiritual self, and therefore shares some characteristics of both. The soul can be attracted either towards the spiritual or towards the material realm, being thus the battlefield of good and evil. This is from Wikipedia.
All right, thank you.
No problem.
Yeah.
Whatever they want to eat, but I'm just saying soul food comes down to a deeper level. You know what I'm saying?
I get you what you're saying, bro. I'm just saying there's one case over here where I go and slaughter the human beings and then cook the food with love and, you know, however we cleanse the energy. You say that's not okay. But if your mum goes and pays for it down at the shops, you'll eat that because it is okay. I'm just saying there's a contradiction here. They're both the same kind of situation.
It's not okay. Here. It's not okay or okay. That's what I'm saying. Like doesn't really necessarily come down to a polarization of like an answer to that specific question. I asked if veganism was a religion, and it's like you can look at it from many different ways if it's a religion or not. But what's religion to one person is not religion to another. You know what I'm saying? I made those examples when we started this topic.
Okay, with you, do you think it's morally justifiable to eat animal products from the supermarket? Let's just say. I just want to go somewhere.
All right, that's a great question. Great question. I don't physically go buy meats in the supermarket for myself, but if my mom cooks it, I'm gonna eat it. You know what I'm saying? If I go to somebody's, I'm not attached to the doctrine. That's what it is. So if I was attached to the idea, I am. But unless somebody gives me a plate, and I'm not gonna deny the plate. If I'm hungry, I'm gonna eat. You get what I'm saying?
So you're vegan outside of your mom's house. You basically just
yes.
You're just
that's why I told you. Right. That's why I said when we first started, this is a beautiful doctrine to be in. It's something where if it's coming from a true heart space, I mean, I believe from a pure heart space, I believe it's beautiful to be vegan. But it's not like we could say, you could perceive a priest, let's say, to be the good guy because he's like preaching about God. But you know how many priests I see actually like being pedophiles and doing stupid things that they're not supposed to do that doesn't go with their religion?
Yeah, I get you.
Now, what is the deal with priest and pedophilia? That's kind of like a weird correlation. It's kind of like a weird correlation, you know? Like it's even a stereotype that a priest is in cahoots with little boys. It's like so weird. It's like, like what's the deal, man?
I hear you. I feel you.
That's what I'm saying about vegan.
I'm just a little.
And veganism, yeah, there's a lot of controversial things like the vegan teacher or vegan gains. Those are the two most, controversial vegans that I've heard about. Personally, I like watching vegan gains debate. And yeah, I'm up to date with his channel. I also like a channel called Ask Yourself. Another vegan channel, so yeah, check those out. Look those guys up. If you have the time.
A little bit shocked and stunned that you actually are a plant-based eater outside of your visiting your mum.
Right, I am. I eat fruits. I love fruits, and I'm not concerned with protein. I work out, and I can grow muscles just eating fruit.
Yeah, that's cool. So, I thought that you were just a conventional kind of meat consumer.
No, I'm not.
Didn't have any. And why don't you eat meat outside of your mum's house?
It's not. It's something I just don't really care to eat. It makes me feel heavy. It makes me feel a little bit more inflammation. This is just for me. You get what I'm saying? It just doesn't really sit well with me, and it's not something that I'd rather just see. It takes so much energy to process something like that. And I'm aware of the hormones and steroids and the drugs they put these animals in. So it's like I just don't feel like consuming that. Even the fruits. That's why I said even the fruits I grow are totally different than the ones you grow in the supermarket.
I hear you. So it's completely selfish reason. Not to be rude or anything, but it's a self-centered reason.
Okay, well, it is, because if I'm good, then everybody else is good. It's kind of like somebody saying, put your oxygen mask on first. If I'm mentally straight, I feel like everything in my life will be mentally straight too.
Yeah, I'm not trying to insult you or anything. I'm just
no. I know insult taken. Those are genuine questions.
It sounds like a self.
Ask me any question. Ask me any question without feeling any kind of way. I'm not going to get offended.
That's cool. I'm just saying, you take issue with animals being mass bred, confined, decapitated for human beings. Do you take issue with that?
Right. So check this out. If I see something in my immediate reality happening, I'm going to stop it, because it's like, wow, what the hell are you doing, bro? You know? But if it's happening on a global scale, yeah, you would have to actually be part of, you would have to have that badge of veganism and go do that, which there's nothing wrong with it. That's what you're about. You get what I'm saying? But forcing it on others, I feel like that's...
I just ask if you take issue with it. That's all I
No,
ask.
I don't. No, I do take issue with I do take issue. I think it's a horrible thing to do, because I'm not programmed that way. I'm going to go back to the programming since I was a child. You know what I'm saying? I can break those programs. I can listen to, let's say, because this is how you change yourself: repetition, trauma, and symbolism. I can program myself, right? Let's say, do you ever hear people say that they're poor and they want to be rich? They can reprogram their mind to abundance consciousness. I can program myself to hate animals and start...
Like, I don't know if that directly works, but I think your actions and your grind is just what actually makes things happen. Having that mindset is just the icing on the cake. It's like a helping factor toward that. I don't know if it manifests it, but if you believe it does, it will. I don't know if any subjective experiences or actual verifiable evidence of that is true, but you can try it for yourselves. Affirmations, I've done that myself, and yeah.
Are killing animals. Your body's like a computer. You get what I'm saying? And that the only reason I spoke about the sentient cells is when you're debating somebody, you're technically going up against that person, and if that person's under severe stress, like let's say you got that person cornered, or they're attacking your character and they're starting to feel a certain way, a bunch of cells are dying. You're literally creating mass murder there to begin with without even realizing it. Just like the cat doesn't realize it just killed the mouse in the garden, right?
Yeah. I wouldn't go.
And now when you look at, like, I've also heard about people saying, oh, bivalves and clams and whatnot, and all these things aren't sentient. Well, I mean, your body, if you really dissect it to the most minute level, you're basically made of bacteria and viruses, more than you are human. But when we look at it on a cellular level, those are sentient cells.
It depends on how you define sentience, right? It just depends on how you.
So what is sentience? So what is sentience?
For me, it's being able to have a subjective experience, like so like what we're having right now, a subjective experience. You're a subject inside of a conscious experience.
Exactly.
But I don't see bacteria as having a subjective experience, because they are not what I would
bacteria,
consider
cells.
Yeah, I don't think cells are. Cells might contain some type of energy, but I don't. That's not what I define as sentient.
But the perception of the individual determines the sentience or the expression of those cells. So if I'm stressed out, let's say see how people say, hey, bro, it doesn't matter. Like, why are you putting so much energy? It doesn't matter. Like, if things matter to me, they're materializing my life, but I'm stressing myself out because I'm not aware of what's potentially real or not real. I can make something very real by how much matter and energy I put into it.
I get you. There's something called the placebo effect and the nocebo effect, where like
I'm glad you brought that up.
Scientific studies. Yeah, that's fine. That's all cool. This is all great stuff. Great stuff to talk about. Good topic. But yeah, so you have an issue with me telling people they shouldn't pay for animals to be in this eternal mass murder, decapitation horror story. Do you have an issue with me going out and telling people this?
If I had an issue with you doing that, I would actually create my own organization to try to like attack you. But I'm not attacked. See, the reason I even jumped on is just to put things into perspective as, like, let's say something that's not really seen from the vegan community. I'm not here to try to like tell you what you're doing is wrong or right. You get what I'm saying? I think what you're doing is great. You're doing something. Look, if you're doing something with passion, you might have misunderstood me. But look, if you're doing something with passion, I support you. I think what you're doing is a phenomenal thing because you're doing it with love and passion. You know how many people have jobs that they don't want to do And then that's what I'm talking about. Like they're putting themselves through certain stresses because of it's an ignorance. They're not aware that they can do better by just tapping into something. You were once a criminal. You said you were doing bad things. You had a realization that you had a passion for something. You started to do it, and it's a beautiful thing. You created a big following, started making money. I applaud people who make money and start doing things with a passion. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I said I don't have a problem with what you're doing. I love what you're doing, except I'm putting things into perspective because I speak to vegans. And this is why even in the comments, I said, I'd rather have a discussion with you about it to see where your points of view are. So not to say that what you're doing is bad or good.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I think that what I'm coming up against is like some of the most horrible, horrifying, disgusting, sick, torturous, evil shit that you could ever imagine.
That's right.
I think that, and to say that, and to even make a suggestion that me asking people to stop doing that is a bad thing, I would think would just make you sound like a.
See, again, I'm going to focus on what he said earlier about the like what can make that okay? Nothing can make that what he said is doing okay. So why would you even ask that question? That would just make you morally bankrupt to even wonder what the answer to that question even is. Because like what the hell, asking, you know, like, oh, if I chopped up these people with a chainsaw like in the most horrible, painful way, do you really think it would matter if monks blessed it with their energy to get rid of the bad vibes? That's just not going to get rid of the bad vibes of chainsaw massacring people for food. I mean, like, I don't know where that actually came from, but you know, like it comes to me as a little bit kind of a shock on like, you know, the surprise or the actual way. Like, why would you even ask that? Like, you think you wouldn't know the other person's answer to that question? I'm like, obviously not, duh. You fucking killed those people, you know? And I wouldn't want to support hypothetically what you would be doing. I mean, like, you know,
fucking insane lunatic if you especially knew the depths of what we're talking about here. If you watch the movie like Dominion, or if you've seen some of the investigations I've conducted myself, if you went into a factory farm, okay, great, then you know that.
I've been following you for a little while. I've been watching your content. You know what I'm saying?
Great. Then we don't have to just debate about whether or not it's bad, which I'm happy about too, because that says a lot about your character, that you're not trying to defend the indefensible, because a lot of people do actually. Now, I don't see us disagreeing much more. I would suggest I don't see us disagreeing at all. I think we're getting we've got a little bit off topic. You have a lot of big meta conversations to have. You see things a lot with a bigger scope.
More expensive.
Veganism.
The only reason I'm saying is I know it's a simple thing, but here's the thing though. Let me just close up with this first. When you look at religions and you really dissect each and every one of the religions, you'll see that they're actually talking about the same thing. Like you'll hear the story of Jesus Christ. You'll hear the story of Krishna. It's like they all had 12 disciples, died for 3 days, came back and resurrected. It's the same thing in different characters. That's the only reason why I said when you're religious, you look at the big scope of things. When I look at veganism and how they operate, I have to go into the metaphysical side of things, because there's no other way. Carnivores can come out with a bunch of studies which they'll sit there till they're blue in the face backing up their claims how it's the healthiest meal, right? But then again, like you just said, it's how I eat it and how I receive it into my system. Right now, you're listening to me talking. You're consuming information. If you buy into my ideas, it could say, oh, I just changed your life. So what do you say? You say this a lot. Oh, I just planted a seed in that person's mind. You want them to convert based on something that you're doing by programming them, by planting a seed that may grow, because they might hear other things based on what you just planted. So now they're aware. Yeah. That's a mind virus. That's a mind virus. And mind viruses are not categorized as bad or good.
I just want them to stop paying for animals to be stabbed in the neck. I'm not trying to propagate seeds into their mind and take over their mind. I just want them to stop doing something horrific through their actions, which is a simple change. I mean, yes, we can get into like whatever, some meta conversation. I'm just like, it's a really fundamental, hey, is it wrong to stab animals in the neck for a sandwich? Yes, it is wrong. Okay, then I'm going to change my behavior slightly in my life. thanks very much. I'm not going to change me as a person. I'm still going to be into all my spiritual stuff, eat my fruits. I'm just not going to eat corpses of tortured animal bodies who didn't want to die and didn't want to be born into suffering in factory farms, and not make up any silly excuses that we can't prove, like they did something bad in a bad life, in a past life or something. And everyone that has something horrific happen to them obviously did something bad in a past life. Like, I just don't think that that's a very helpful discussion, a helpful justification for, I don't think it's a justification for a way of proving it. Yeah.
It's not, but it also disempowers you to some extent, because it's kind of like saying you can't think outside the box because you only have to like basically see what you see, and that's it. Sometimes the unseen is not seen because you're not seeing it. It's just like if I want to buy a car and all of a sudden now I start seeing the car everywhere. It's not to say the car was never there. The car was there. It's just that I'm aware of it now. That's why I say when you're planting something in your mind, you're going to start to see it. Everything is there. Reality and creation is already created. Everything's done. You're just not seeing certain things. That's what I'm saying. And that's the reason why I think I would like to have a further discussion. It don't even have to be online or offline. I don't really care for the clout or anything like that. I genuinely wanted to have this discussion with you.
Yeah, I genuinely want to have a discussion with you. And Joey, if he is down for that, on what I made in my previous video. And that goes for pretty much anybody who wants to have a discussion with me on my commentaries or anything like that, or to have a similar kind of video like you're seeing here, a debate kind of video. And what I'd want my next debate video to be is about whether or not the state of enlightenment, seeing your electrical body kind of energies, or using Reiki energy, is mental illness or reality. You know, I want to talk about that kind of thing, to bring light, to shed light on, you know, to shed light on this kind of experience that I've been having. And yeah, I will go into more into depth on that kind of topic. I did leave a comment on Zigzagzilla's video here, one of his recent video. I left a comment on this video. I think there may be a lot of like spelling errors. I may have like not have split the sentences in the paragraphs, but I just kind of rushed through and left a comment on the visual phenomena that I'm experiencing. You know, the and I will talk about it in this next video if he agrees to go on and make a video with me. I want to make a video not for the clout, but generally for, you know, for whoever wants to leave a comment below, for the community it's just pretty much for like discussion, for like research purposes, science, you know, just for
I appreciate
what he said.
I appreciate you stopping by, and I think we did. We had a good discussion. I don't think. Shout out to
both these men, Joey Curbstrong, Zigzagzilla.
We're disagreeing all too much.
Yeah,
doesn't seem like. So I think I'm going to do the deed and end it there. But thank you for. I think it's been an hour. But thank you. It's been like nearly an hour, dude. Like, it's been a long time. So thank you for stopping by. I'm going to find someone I actually do disagree with a little bit more, and appreciate you enlightening us with with a different kind of conversation, one I didn't expect. And take care and enjoy your YouTube channel. I hope that you.
Man. Go ahead, bro. We're good. Thank you. I appreciate you, bro. I appreciate you letting me on.
All right, I appreciate both you guys for making this video, and I appreciate you, Zigzagzilla and Joey Curbstrong. He's just like, I'll check out more of Joey Curbstrong's channel, because I haven't seen much of this guy. This is actually the first time I've seen this guy debate Zigzag. But yeah, all around this was a pretty much, it's just like, it's a pretty successful like debate, you know, because like, you know, they're both like in agreement of each other in a sense, mostly, you know. But yeah, that concludes this today's episode of Crescent Story Commentaries. If you guys like this video, please leave a like and comment below on what you think, and of this video, or what kind of videos you want me to make next. And yeah, leave a share, just like, you know, share this video with whoever might be interested in this kind of commentary. And also, let me know in the comments below if you want to join me on one of these kinds of debates type deal things, or just kind of join me in discussion in general, you know, on a video or something like that. Anybody who's willing to volunteer, I'd be kind of interested to speak with about the nature of the universe and the nature of this visual phenomena that I was talking about in my previous video. If you want to know more about that video, I would look at my video that is titled "I Opened My Third Eye Chakra" in all caps. It's pretty much just a blog video stating that I opened my third eye, as well as other visual phenomena that I've experienced to be anomalous behavior in my senses. Like something that is out of the usual, something that is a rare experience, something that I've only experienced. I went more into detail on the comment that I left on Zigzagzilla's channel. You can pause and read this comment. I'm not gonna read this all to you right now. But yeah, it goes into detail about what I see when my eyes are closed. I kind of left that part out in the previous video. But yeah. And if you do not want to read that, I'm going to make another video about that. Anyway, thank you guys very much for watching. This has been Crescent Story, signing out.